Photographed and fingerprinted as he starts to answer to the 97-page indictment filed against him and 19 other defendants over alleged election subversion. Since the filing on the 14th, all of the accused have been up against an August 25th noon deadline to surrender to the Rice Street Jail in Fulton County, Georgia. Trump, we're told, will do that later today. Local attorney Mark Reichel, one of many legal minds analyzing the developments as DA Fani Willis's case against this group moves forward. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
You are a defense attorney, and as such, this must kind of be the worst case scenario because the DA has not budged on allowing any defendant to escape the regular processing that would happen at the jail. I think in as much as it furthers his victim narrative, maybe his current lawyers want him to be seen submitting to what they say is an unfair process. But I would guess that normally, for optics, you wouldn't want your client in the spotlight this way?
Well, in the state criminal system, it's very, very rare that you get these type of any kind of favor like this, specifically where you don't have to show up for booking and you get an arrangement to come in. The federal system is a little different, and the former president has had some pretty kid glove treatment so far in the federal criminal cases, the two of them. So they've allowed this professionalism and so forth, civility between the lawyers. DA Willis is doing it differently. It's just like any other case, cut and dry. And she finds it to be a really serious case. So she takes an aggressive attitude, the same as if it was a bank robbery or a violent crime. So she doesn't play around. She's got a very hard stance. That's how the system is set up. For now, she really does have all the cards.
All right, and we don't want to suggest that it's not professional or not civil what's happening today. It is the regular process. He's just had different treatment up until this moment.
That's correct. This is exactly how the state system, system operates. All of us that operate in the state system, this is nothing unusual whatsoever.
Former Trump chief.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Former Trump Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, previously held in contempt by the U.S. House for defying a subpoena in the investigation into the January 6th attack. He's trying to get his part of all of this moved into federal court. He's making the case for that by saying that the allegations covered in the indictment were actions he took as part of his federal duties. Jeffrey Clark, a former assistant attorney general, is also making this argument. Do they have a chance with this?
It's not a completely spurious or frivolous argument at all. I actually did this exact thing in Los Angeles in federal court there. My client was working for the federal government undercover as an informant when he was also committed a couple of state crimes. The state brought him in and we tried to remove it to federal court right under this exact statute. So it's not frivolous if you have a federal actor charged in state court who can say, look, at the time I was a official federal actor, there's a good reason for that statute. So at some point, there will be a full and fair hearing on that argument.
Couldn't former President Trump say, I was acting as the president trying to keep an illegitimate actor, Joe Biden, from taking over the democracy? So my case should be in federal court too?
Yeah, honestly, I can't see why the Trump group hasn't done that yet. His lawyers should follow suit with Meadows as well and file that. I'm not saying it's going to be granted, but I'm telling you, a federal judge is going to hold a hearing at some point because there's an old Supreme Court case. There's a strong Supreme Court precedent. There was a U.S. Marshal who actually shot someone on a train as they were trying to attack a federal judge. The state that happened in charged that U.S. Marshal, this is back in the 1800s, with a state crime. The feds came in, removed it to federal court and said this was a federal actor doing their job as a federal actor officially, and the state can't charge me. So I think there will be a fair hearing at some point. I don't think it's going to win, but it's not going to just be brushed off, in my opinion.
You're talking about this hearing. It is set for Monday at 10. What does it say to you that U.S. District Judge Steve Jones didn't give Meadows an immediate yes when this request was submitted? That Monday hearing very obviously passed tomorrow's noon surrender deadline.
Because there's no harm. You can raise this at any time. I mean, you could do this in 2 months. You could go down the road in the state case and say, look, I'm ready to go to federal court to make my argument that I was a federal actor. I need to be over there. And so there's no harm in putting it off. I think if anything was frivolous, it was screaming and yelling, I can't be booked in state court until this is decided. That part was, I think, was the frivolous part.
Okay. Bonds in this case have been set between $10,000 and $200,000. Former President Trump is reportedly set to pay $200,000. Working that out ahead of time, which 14 of the 19 defendants have done, that avoids an initial court appearance but doesn't get him out of showing up and arraignment in the coming weeks. Are these the right bond amounts? And while she didn't give an inch on the surrendering, is working out bond ahead of time pretty typical?
Working out bond ahead of time can be typical. Let's just back up. They could have issued arrest warrants. It's a serious crime. It's a serious. It goes to the foundations of democracy. And so it's a white collar crime, but they do it all the time. The grand jury comes out with an indictment, they file it in the court, the prosecutor then fills out a warrant, the judge signs it. It's just that these are such public figures who are so open and notoriously, around. It doesn't look like they're that big of a flight risk, nor are they a danger to do it again, because there's no election that's been done recently. So I think that's why they opted for the optics of allowing them to surrender and post the bond. They could have issued an arrest warrant. I could see that, easily have seen that happening.
All righty, and while you've been talking just then, we're looking at the mugshots of some of the Trump co-defendants who have already surrendered. Thank you so much for your insight this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.